Hey, thanks so much for stopping by and checking out the video. Make sure if you need more help with the throwing events or how to train for them, go check out the website, elitethrowscoaching.com. You can check out our ebooks, you can check out our downloadable videos, do a video analysis, but make sure you check out our camp tab as well. We do a big overnight camp every year. We also do camps and clinics all around the country on the weekends during track season. So make sure to see if we're coming to your area, and if we are, hopefully we get to see you out there with us. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Wanted to do a video today to kind of close out the No Coach, No Problem video series that I've been doing here over the past couple of weeks. Now, the No Coach, No Problem video series is, for the most part, a very general video series because there's no way that I can help you out, specifically help you out for exactly what you need in the throws, because I'm not there with you at practice. So I wanted to go over generally what you should be doing throughout a regular day of practice, in the field during a weight room day, in the weight room during the weight room day, and then of course, the last video we're going to talk about what you should be doing at your track meets. But I wanted to kind of make this video today not necessarily as a defense of what we talked about in the last video, but really just to explain to a lot of coaches out there sort of why I have heavy weight as part of my weight training and why, yes, you do have to move heavy weight slowly to get strong. I know it sounds really weird, but we got a lot of negative feedback and a lot of emails on the last video from people saying, I can't believe you told people that they have to lift heavy stuff, and when you lift heavy stuff, it's not going to move that quickly. No kidding. Heavy stuff is not going to move as quickly as light stuff. A 200-pound bench press is not going to move as quickly as a 100-pound bench press. If you have a 300-pound or a 400-pound max squat, it's going to move a lot slower than if you only had 135 pounds on the bar. Obviously, you're going to be able to move lighter stuff a lot faster. But in order to build strength, you need to move heavy things slowly. That is a major component of getting stronger. You are only going heavy and slow for a very small percentage of your practice days. Okay? Here's how it works out. Now, I took the schedule of Dan. Dan is actually one of our runners, goes to East Providence, or competes for East Providence High School. He's homeschooled. He competes for East Providence High School, and he brought me in his meet schedule. Now, based around Dan's meet schedule, I took it upon myself to say, all right, let's see how I would set up Dan's days of practice. Imagining, of course, that, I'm working with one of the throwers from Dan's team, not Dan, who's a runner who I don't know what Dan does. But his season is essentially 73 days long. Now, what I mean by that, obviously his season is a little over 3 months long. It's a 13-week season. So, it's not quite 73 days. It's a lot more than that. But Dan would be with me for 73 days because I would not practice on Sundays, and certain Saturdays we would have off because there would not be practice or there would not be meets. The way that breaks down is regular days of practice. Dan, I'm assuming, is going to make the state championship meet, which he has for the past couple of years. He's going to have 34 days of regular practice. He is going to have 26 days because it's a 13-week season, and he's in the weight room 2 times a week. So he's going to have 26 days in the weight room. And for his track meets, he's going to have 13 track meets. That's between the dual meets. I think I wrote that up there. 13 dual meets. 13 meets, and that is between your dual meets, your invitationals, and your championship meets. 13 in total. Well, let's see how that breaks down. So, for a little less than half of his practice days, 10% of a thrower's warm-up of that day is the thrower's warm-up. Okay, so 10% of that day is the warm-up for the throwers. That is a very explosive, very ballistic, very specific warm-up. warm up with your sprinters. They do a perfect warm up, nice active, explosive warm up. You have 80% of your regular day is going to be specific to the throws. 100% throwing specific. Then you have 10% of your day, which is all speed and explosive training. Your sprints, your jumps, your med balls, your plyos, all that stuff. So, what in a regular day of practice is slow? Answer, nothing. So 0% of this is slow. None of it. It's fast. It's throwing specific. It's explosive movements. Then, let's come down here. 13 track meets. Now, what we're going to explain in the next video, what part of this track meet is slow? Nothing. The warm-up, still very quick, explosive, ballistic, getting the heart rate going, getting the blood pumping, getting the sweat going. Nothing is slow. When you compete, you don't compete slowly. It's 100% speed. You are going as fast as possible when you're trying to hit these PR-type throws in the circles or on the javelin runway. Nothing about that is slow. So let's go here to the days that we're in the weight room. Days that we're in the weight room, again, 26 days. 26 days. 1/3 of the season, you're in the weight room. Now, when you're in the weight room, you're only in the weight room for 40% of that day. Because remember, 10% we're doing the warm-up, 10% speed, explosion, ballistic, powerful, med balls, jumps, sprints, all that stuff. 40% is extremely specific to a throwing event. Again, speed, explosion, developing power, nothing slow about training for throws. So only 40% of your days. So 40% of 1/3 of your practice days is in the actual weight room. Now, in the weight room, you have 10 of these days where you are not doing anything explosive. Sad face. You have 8 of these days, like we explained in the last video, where half of your movements are heavy and slow, and half of your movements are extremely explosive. And then you have another 8 days where 100% of the movements that you are doing in the weight room are fast and explosive. So let's do the math, shall we? 1/3, little less than 1/3 of your days of practice, you're going to spend time in the weight room. 40% of a little less than 1/3 of your practice days are actually going to be lifting weights in the weight room. And then a little less than 50%, or I should say, just about 50%, a little more than 50%, like 52% or whatever it works out to be, of the 40% of the 30% of your practice days. Someone out there a lot smarter than me can do the math, are actually spent doing things that are heavy and slow. Look at the teeny tiny percentage of what you do when you follow the type of weight training plan that we do here at Primal, that we do in our ebooks, that we have explained in these videos in the past. When you do the type of weight training that we do here, where the first third of your season is heavy and slow, and half of the second third of your season is heavy and slow, what is that really doing to your throwers? Is it going to slow them down with all of this speed and all of this speed, and with that speed and that speed and that speed and that speed and all of that speed training that we do every single day of these 73 days of practice? Are we really training our athletes to get slow? No. Or are we training our athletes to get stronger in the presence of all that speed? So we're not necessarily trying to get our athletes to move slow. Of course not. How dumb would that be to try to get a thrower to move slow? I mean, in order to get a thrower to move slow, you'd have to have him just run laps in practice really, really slowly, maybe for a warm-up. But I digress. So when people are out there that see that we lift heavy weights for about half the season, guys, it's not really doing anything to affect the speed of your throwers. If anything, it's building up their strength. Because force, as everyone will tell you in this friggin' industry, force equals mass times acceleration. If all we do is focus on acceleration, training for speed, that's great. The speed is going to continue going up and up and up and up and up and up and up. But we also have to train our bodies to move mass. We need to train our bodies both sides of the equation. If you want more force, up the amount of mass that you can move, get stronger, get bigger, and up the amount of speed that you train during your season. So train the sprints, train med balls, train jumps, train all these different things that we do outside at the circle. But don't forget to move some heavy stuff slowly as well. Hopefully this helps explain it to you guys. I'm not trying to make your throwers slow. God, no. I'm trying to get your athletes strong so that they can move with more force, so they can produce more force. That's the name of the game. When you throw, you need to throw with as much force as possible. In order to do that, you need to up the amount of mass that you can move. It's one part of the equation. We're doing it in a very, very small percentage of your days that you are at practice. So don't get scared about moving heavy weight slowly. As long as you are doing everything else at practice nice and fast, which you should be doing, your guys and girls will be all set, throwing lots of PRs, having a grand old time. Guys, the next video is going to be our last video in the No Coach, No Problem series. We're going to talk about what you should be doing at track meets, talking a lot about focusing, a lot about believing that what you're going to do is going to be awesome. It's going to be a great video. Nothing like this has ever really been done before by me. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I tell my athletes. I'm going to tell you a little bit about sort of how I lead them into the big meets, get them confident, and what they should be doing at their meets. Warm-ups, all that stuff will be in the next video. And then that's going to do it for this video series, and we'll move on to the next one. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure like, subscribe, do all that stuff, share it all over the place so other people can see. And make sure to check out EliteThrowsCoaching.com to see about our camp coming to New Jersey this summer. Talk to you guys soon.